Oda, 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 why do you do this? First Jinbei, now Yamato. I am hurting right now. Yamato was my favorite character introduced in Wano, and what Oda's done is just... You know what? I can't get into it right now. I'll get to it when I get to it in the chapter. But first, if you like this video, give it a like below and subscribe to my channel. It's free to you, and I know you're enjoying the content. So just go ahead and click that sub button. Trust me, you won't regret it. Now, back to my pain. Okay, so first we're going to start off with Yuta, and we're getting another backstory on one of her songs. And we get to see Shanks and the crew. They're a lot younger. And we see a woman holding a baby with black hair. And I'm like, is this Luffy's mom? It's probably Portuguese D Rogue. It's probably Ace's mom. But I don't know. Oda's really messing with us this chapter. But we're going to move on. So Caesar's back. And to do what is anyone's guess. I don't know what he's going to do against Katakuri and Oven. I don't know what he's going to do. He should have just stayed Gangster Gastino. But he decided to turn back into Caesar with the discount Chanel gloves on. So we'll see what Caesar can get done. We'll see probably in the next cover story. I'm pretty sure it's nothing. But moving on, we have a guy, maybe a teacher. I think he's a teacher, telling the new story of Wano. And the story continues to be revealed as the chapter goes on, but he's kind of just going through what we already know, what we just witnessed in the Wano arc. Kind of like a recap. But then we get the bombshell that no one wanted. Yamato is staying in Wano. And I am not a fan. I'm not. And she's still going on with this Odin thing. It's not as bad as before, but she's still very much in her Odin self. And I've always felt that one of the major themes in Wano was identity and finding your identity. And they talk about it in a lot of different ways. In Wano, you had Momo accepting who he was and truly taking on his position as Shogun. You have Sanji wrestling with his identity as a Vinsmoke and accepting who he is. Luffy and Joy Boy, Denjiro and Kiyoshiro, Drake and Undercover as Sword, Hiyori and Komurasaki. I can keep going. There is a huge theme with identity in Wano. And the ideas of being something that, you're not, hidden identities, the acceptance of your own identity, they were very prevalent in Wano. And Yamato was the most obvious of that example. But she hasn't actually come into her own yet. She's still too much Odin's dream. Because of that, I do think that as a character, it's not the right time for Yamato to join the Straw Hats, because the Straw Hats all have strong identities, right? And dreams, and something that's their own. And right now, Yamato's dream is still Odin's dream, because she has yet to experience anything and really get into who she is. So I guess in a positive note, I do hope that when we see Yamato again, she's proudly just Yamato and secure in her own identity. Then I believe she'll be ready to join the Straw Hats. But I really wanted to see that change in Yamato. So maybe the Oda do like a side story or something. We'll probably have a cover story of Yamato and her adventures throughout Wano. That's probably when we'll see Ryuma's grave. That's probably when we'll see Zoro's dad. It won't be with Zoro. It'll probably be in some sideways thing like this, because that's what Oda does. But maybe the simple reason that Oda is leaving her in Wano is because she's just too strong. She's just too powerful. Like if she did join the Straw Hats right now, there definitely would be a Yonko level crew at that point. There's not too many crews that could really contend against them, because then you have Luffy, Zoro, and Yamato being all three conquerors and all able to use Conqueror's Haki coding. Like that's like Rock's level stuff probably. And besides, they can't have a third person who's stronger than Sanji. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually a huge Sanji fan, so please don't come at me in the comments, please. But we're gonna get back to this chapter, because you gotta love Kinemon, right? As they're running to go meet Luffy, Momo, Kinemon, and Yamato. Momo's clearly upset for good reason, and Kinemon's just like, "Hey, I'll cleave Luffy apart." And I'm like, dude is willing to die for his shogun. Gotta give him props for that. But we get a nice flashback of all of Momo and Kinema's and Luffy's moments since they met up till now. And it has been quite a ride. So I can understand why Momo was upset because they have been through a ton. So we get to the port and Law once again tries his best to explain to Luffy that they're enemies. And it goes exactly as you would expect because they are friends. And as far as Luffy's concerned, they're probably best friends. In fact, they're so much friends that Law and Kid waited until Momo and Kinema finished saying goodbye to leave, even though their ships were already ready to leave port. So Law can say what he wants to say, but they are very much friends. Which brings me to the goodbye. Momo's not mad. He's actually sad. He doesn't want Luffy to leave, and Luffy's pretty much tells him to grow up because he thinks of him like a little brother. And it's a small moment, but it means so much because Luffy's Ace now. The same care and concern Ace showed for Luffy, Luffy now has that for Momo, and I'm all for it. As long as Luffy doesn't end up like Ace, hopefully. But he gives Momo their flag and tells him to hang it up so no one will mess with them. And Luffy's name actually does hold some weight. I know he's a new Yonko, but remember, when they disappeared for 2 years, an entire fake pirate crew was able to use their name, and the Marines and fellow pirates didn't take it like it was nothing. Luffy is like 10 times more powerful than he was then. All of the Straw Hats are insanely powerful now. So I think the flag will actually deter quite a few people from making any unnecessary noise in Wano, if they can even reach Wano, because Wano is still extremely difficult to just get to. Let alone you get there then see Luffy's big flag and wants to start problems. Like, that may not be a good idea. Plus you got the samurai to deal with. Yeah, that's probably just a bad idea in general to mess with Wano right now. So Luffy invites all of them to join the crew whenever they feel like it. And Momo sets us to pass his father, Oden, which I think is really gonna be awesome because if Momonosuke is able to become like Oden, have the same strong body as Oden, the same swordsmanship as Oden, with Kaido's power in addition to it, Momo might actually end up becoming one of the most powerful characters in this series, which is crazy because he was such a crybaby, and to go from being a little crybaby to being one of the most powerful characters is pretty cool. So the Straw Hats head to the Hakama port, or at least they're supposed to head to the Hakama port. But Kid, in a rare stroke of genius, goes Luffy and Law into taking the waterfall down against the protests of their crew members. You know, you have to feel bad for Nami, Usopp, and Chopper because they have to go through hell just being on Luffy's crew. The heart attacks they must endure on a regular basis, all because of Luffy's ridiculous decisions. But we do get a nice panel of all 3 ships flying off the waterfall, and the story of Wano continues in the background with the teacher telling the story. And we get a poetic moment where Hiyori reveals that the Kurozumi means charcoal, and they were meant to burn. And this actually references, obviously, Orochi's final moments where he literally burned. And it's funny because he actually burned from another Kurozumi who was burning. And it also mirrors Oden's death, where before he died, he expressed that when you boil Oden, the better it gets, with the people of Wano finishing in unison with him, standing aside with him, whereas Kurozumi, he actually burnt alone, which is pretty poetic. And with that, the curtains close on Wano 4 years later, and the Wano saga ends. While I'm ready to move on to the next adventure, I will always look back at Wano and remember the amazing moments Oda shared with us. Wano Kuni has truly been a pleasure. I've been the Blank Face, and I'll see you in the next one.